Hey, what's up YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video game review. And for this review, we're going to be taking a look at Assassin's Creed Odyssey for the PlayStation 4, also available on Xbox One and PC and Steam, and surprisingly for the Nintendo Switch. However, that version is only available, as far as I'm aware of, in Japan through a cloud and streaming service. But for this video review, we're going to be taking a look at the PS4 version. And if you're interested in any gameplay footage, I'll have a link in the description of this video and you can check it out. Last year, Assassin's Creed got a bit of a revival, and it certainly needed it though. After what happened with Assassin's Creed Unity back in 2014, that really put a bad stain mark and really embarrassed not only the franchise itself, but also Ubisoft in general, with a lot of decisions that they made that really upset a lot of gamers out there. And after what happened after Assassin's Creed Syndicate, they put the series not on hiatus, but took a break with it to give Ubisoft some time to try to work out and rearrange certain things. And last year's Assassin's Creed Origin was, in my opinion, a step in the right direction, as there were a lot of things I did like, and I did like the direction they were going with it. So this year, for some reason, they released the next entry, Odyssey, as well. And while some of it is kind of more the same as you would see in Origins, though, the game is still fun. In fact, this is probably the funnest I had with an Assassin's Creed game, that in Origins, since Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons. So we'll start off first with the pros, and I will say the first one is the gameplay. And like Origins, the gameplay is fun though. I like the whole idea of the RPG mechanics in it, excuse me, and I also like the whole loot element in it as well. And to me, that was really made Origins fun, and this is what makes Odyssey fun. The whole idea of picking up some new armor, whether it could replace your old armor, or sell it off, or break it down for materials that you can use to upgrade your armor, to upgrade your ship, and so forth. And of course, the whole RPG and leveling up system is, while nothing new, it is a welcome addition to the Assassin's Creed series. So just like Origins, the gameplay is fun, at least from my perspective as well. Next thing I want to do is talk about is the exploration. And like Origins, though, exploration is certainly better than a lot of the past Assassin's Creed game. In the past, though, of course, in order for you to explore an entire area, you would have to get to like the high point. Usually there's a eagle on your mini map, and you basically have to sort of sink that area to find and unlock everything, excuse me, to really, look for all the hidden secrets in the area. Here, there is still the climbing, there is still that eagle part, but unlike past Assassin's Creed game, this one, when you sink in the area, the only thing you unlock is maybe the fast travel. Everything else, at least based on my time with it, is basically you go exploring and looking for it. Mostly you'll see a question mark on the map as well. So exploration, I feel, is better. Like Origins, it's better than the past Assassin's Creed game, and I like the direction they're going with this. The next one I do want to talk about is the story, and surprisingly, I do enjoy the story of this one. I do like the whole story of this former Spartan, or son of Spartan. Of course, later on you learn a bit more of the story about his true origins. Don't want to spoil anything like that as well, in terms of, supposedly out to get revenge for his father for what his father did to him or her. You do have a choice between a male or a female character as well. So it's a very interesting story. I definitely kept me hooked and kept me going into the story. So for me, the story is interesting. And last but not least, though, ship battles returns. For those who've played games like Assassin's Creed 3, or better yet, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, one of the funnest elements in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag was the pirates and the ship battles in it. And in here, it returns. In a different form, though. Unlike Assassin's Creed 4, where you're armed with cannons and all that, here you're armed with like bow and arrows, or fire arrows, or spears, or javias, if I'm saying the name correctly. If I'm not, I apologize for that, though. And like that, you basically lower the ship's energy, and when you do, you have the option of destroying it or boarding the ship and killing all the crew and all that stuff, and basically hijacking the treasure there. So it brings back that ship battle those who may have liked in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and it's nice that that has made a return. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to the cons. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video review of Assassin's Creed Odyssey for the PS4. Again, also available on Xbox One, PC, Steam, and like I said earlier, there is a Nintendo Switch version, but that's only available in Japan through a cloud/Steam service. So now that I gave you the pros, why don't I give you the cons, though? And like the pros, where there were about 4 pros, here we have 4 cons, and we'll start off with the first one. The first one are the graphics of the game, though. While I won't say the graphics are hugely terrible or anything like that, they're kind of a hit and miss. Some of the characters just don't look as impressive. Some of the environments look okay. Some of them don't look exactly great or anything like that. So it's not a terrible looking game, but the graphics isn't anything spectacular and all. I mean, they look like what I see from like other Ubisoft games, whether it's Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, how the visuals are set up, to like any other open world Ubisoft game, mostly open world Ubisoft games to be exact. So for me, the graphics are a hit and miss. The next thing I do want to point out is that there are, despite me having the game and despite the updates that have come out for it so far, there are still some bugs in the game, at least as far as I'm aware of. The only bug I ran into so far was when I ran into one of the missions where I had to deliver something to someone. I got stuck between 2 rocks and my character couldn't move or anything like that, to the point where basically I was to fail the mission and it was desync and I had to restart the mission and all that stuff. But other than that, I haven't ran into any problems such as ranging from me being booted out of the game or the game crashing or anything like that. But there are certain characters' animations, I won't say in the level of Assassin's Creed Unity, but maybe some characters maybe like will walk into a wall, some minor clipping here and there. But overall, there are some bugs here and there in the game, but nothing that ruined the experience or did any like crash the game or anything like that. The next thing we do want to talk about is, of course, the open world approach. And honestly, it pretty much follows the tired, true formula that Ubisoft is known for their open world games. Whether you love that or hate that, that's going to come down to your preference. While they did eliminate the so-called climbing to a certain point to unlock everything in this game, it still follows the same thing. There are stuff to unlock, there are certain quests, some of them can be a hit and miss, while some of them, like infiltrating a fort or taking out enemies, are fun. Sometimes as delivering this to another person it does kind of get tiresome a little bit over time, and it's basically this almost comes off as the same quest over and over and over again. Personally, I don't have a huge issue with Ubisoft's open world approach. I think some of them I am not bored with them or anything like that, but I've heard complaints about it before, and it may not be for everyone. So there's some improvement from the open world approach, but it's still the same Ubisoft's open world approach. Whether that's a good or bad thing is going to come down to your preference and your approach. And finally, last but not least, and this is more than likely a con, and that is obviously this game does have microtransactions. No matter how you avoid it or anything like that, the game, everyone knows, like Origins, the game does have microtransaction. Now, I do want to state for the record, though, and I am only basing this on my time with the game, as everyone will have a difference of opinion of their time with it, though. One of the reviews, Jim Sterling's, is a good example of it as well, is this. Not at any point in the game did I find myself in a situation where I was forced to use the microtransaction, or where they, hey, we got microtransactions here, or felt like it was in like what Star Wars Battlefront 2 was, or Middle-earth Shadow of War to be exact. So even though there's microtransactions in the game, I did not find myself in a situation where I had to spend a single dime or penny on it. It's the same thing with Far Cry 5 as well earlier this year. But like Far Cry 5 though, I can understand some of the criticism about it. I can understand not everyone is down with microtransactions and everything like that. So while I don't feel it was at nowhere near the level as what EA pulled with Star Wars Battlefront 2, I understand the criticism and I don't disagree with the argument being made. And on a side note with microtransactions, despite the whole games are expensive or player's option or player's choice though, even if Ubisoft's intention is not to put this into a pay to win or a glorifying gambling thing like what Star Wars Battlefront 2 it did though, or even same with Capcom with the upcoming Devil May Cry 5 with microtransaction, it becomes very hard to buy into the whole player choice option when you look at games like, say, Spider-Man, God of War, the recently released Red Dead Redemption 2, putting aside the Red Dead Online that will be coming soon, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Octopath Traveler, Super Mario Odyssey, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I'm sure there are plenty of other games, but when you look at those games that don't have microtransactions but are able to sell very well, it becomes very hard to buy into this whole argument of the player's choice or games are expensive argument when you see those games sell extraordinarily well, especially Red Dead Redemption, which managed to sell 725 million during its launch though, and that was only a single player game. Meanwhile, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, which has microtransactions in it, was only able to make 500 million, and investors are not happy about it. So, but either way, bottom line with the microtransaction part is this: you could still accomplish what you could accomplish in Assassin's Creed Odyssey without spending a dime or anything like that. But I understand the criticism. I understand the criticism against it though, and while I think what Ubisoft is doing is borderline very close to what EA pulled with Star Wars Battlefront 2, as long as the game could still be accomplished without having to spend a dime, as long as it's not a pay to win kind of situation, and I could still do everything I want to do, then I'll tolerate it. Doesn't mean I 100% agree with it. Doesn't mean I am against the criticism towards it, but I'll somewhat tolerate it. Overall, I am having fun with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I do think the gameplay plays similar to Origins, even though some may or may not like that. I think the gameplay's fun. I like the RPG elements. I like the loot. I like the fact that the game, you definitely get a bit of a Black Flags vibe out of it to a certain degree, though. I'm glad that they are continuing the success of what worked with Origins and try to prove on it with Odyssey. It does worry me a little bit that they released Origins last year and Odyssey this year, and it kind of brings back that eerie reminder of what EA tried to pull after Assassin's Creed 3, then the next year they released Assassin's Creed 4, then we released Unity, and we all know what happened with Assassin's Creed Unity, and then Syndicate. So I'm a little worried about that. Plus, like I said about the microtransactions, I don't like that as well. It's a little iffy about it, not to mention they have a spreadsheet for 6 different collector's edition, which I think that's a bit of an overkill though. So yes, there are some criticism towards Ubisoft, and I'm not ignoring those criticisms, but I felt as though the Assassin's Creed Odyssey is certainly one of Ubisoft's better games that they put out, though. I'm glad that they took elements from Origins and still applied it to Odyssey, though. But it does kind of worry me about them if they're going to release another one next year, and if so, is that going to give developers enough time to iron out some stuff? So overall, I would say probably the funnest Assassin's Creed game I had with this since Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Okay, this concludes this video review of Assassin's Creed Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Assassin's Creed Odyssey, though? Do you think it's the best Assassin's Creed game since Black Flags? Do you feel the exploration is better than the past Assassin's Creed game? Do you like the fact that they're continuing with the stuff with that was introduced in Assassin's Creed Origins, such as the RPG and the whole loot system, to be exact? Do you feel they need to overhaul their open world approach? Does the microtransaction turn you off, or are you not worried about it as much? Are you worried about them releasing another Assassin's Creed next year that could maybe not give them enough time to maybe iron out some stuff for the next Assassin's Creed game? Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree with what I said? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I do. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to. And feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, wish you all a good day then. Bye!